Hi everybody, this is Debbie from the Inspiration Station. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. Today's video is going to be part of a hop with Ginger's Corner this month, February of 2025. I don't even know what year we're in anymore. It's gone so fast. Anyway, this month, the hop is Dining Around the World. And the prompts, there's 27 prompts, and each one is based on a food from a different country. So I have chosen 3 or 4 of them that I'll be doing videos on. I may get to more, but we'll see how that goes. 3 or 4 this month could be a lot for me. Anyway, the first one that I have chosen is a dessert, because why not? And so the dessert, let me see if I can pull this up here. Here we go. The dessert is from the United States of America. It is cheesecake. To earn your check for this meal, you must create a page about your favorite dessert. You must also include kitchen embellishments, not food, but kitchen tools and essentials. For an extra entry in the USA, include a recipe card documenting how to make it. So, dessert. It's one of my favorites. I'll also be doing the bread one because, you know, bread is my favorite too. But anyway, for mine, I am going to be using these photos. These are from when we went to Utah. We went for the Simple Stories Creative Retreat. And while we were there, we stopped at a place that we were really looking forward to, and it was called Mountain Donuts. And it's basically, it's kind of a make your own donut thing. I mean, you don't actually cook them or bake them yourself or fry them, but you choose the base of the donut, whether it's a cake or a yeast, chocolate, or, you know, just plain. And then you choose the frosting or the icing to go on top, and then you also get to choose your toppings. So you could have drizzle of certain things, you can have chopped up candies, you can have coconut, all kinds of stuff. It's fabulous. They were so good. What am I going to do with them? Well, you can see already I've chosen a couple of base colors here. I've got my cream color, and this is an old paper from Coordinations. It's a Tim Holtz one, aged mahogany. Now sadly, they do not make this paper anymore. I really loved the Coordinations paper that coordinated with the Distress line, but it's no longer made, so I've been kind of hoarding what I have left. But the reason that I chose that is it really looks very similar to the logo here on Mountain Donuts. So then I started to go through some of my papers, and I won't bore you with how many different types of papers I went through to find what I was going to use, because I have so much that it's really hard to make a decision. But I did find, oh, there's my rolling pin. I did find these papers from Maggie Holmes, and it's actually from a travel line. If I can find the pad, it's called Round Trip. So this was from a couple of years ago, and obviously the papers that I've chosen from this line are not travel related, but I really liked the color palette. I thought it went nicely with the photos that I have. So that's what I'm going to try to work with. The other thing that we had to add was kitchen embellishments, but not food related. So I have, excuse me, a Planner Essentials die from Elizabeth Craft that cut these rolling pins. And at first I cut them out of craft paper, and then I thought, well, wait a minute, I have a lot of wood grain paper, so I went back and cut them out of wood grain. And then I used Vintage Photo Distress to kind of color the edge, and I'll probably go back and add a little bit more. The other thing that I used was this Spellbinders die here. I love this die set. It's S2-2006, and it has this mixer. It kind of looks like the KitchenAid mixer and the bowl. So I already cut that out. I may go and change the color because I'm not positive. I cut this out before I chose the papers, but I think it may still work. I used a mirror card for the bowl to give us that, you know, stainless steel type look. And I did use a gray. I may go in and highlight this a little bit. I've done that in the past when I've used this die. Add a little bit of silver paint pen to highlight some of the areas. So those are going to be some of my embellishments. So we've got the stand mixer, we have the rolling pin. I may end up throwing in, you know, one of the spatulas or something. But then I went through my embellishments from Maggie Holmes, and I don't believe all of these came from Road Trip. I think they were also from Woodland Gardens. I don't know. I just, after I finish with a project, I throw all the coordinating coordinating embellishments into a Ziploc bag. So that's where I got them from. I just had MH on there for Maggie Holmes. And I went through and I found some things, and I think what I'm going to do for my title is my favorite place, and then I found the word today. So this was my favorite place that day, my favorite place today. I found these tickets, which I liked the darker color. I think it helps contrast with these pastels. It also works pretty nicely with the gray. It's the same tone. This label, you see, matches that aged mahogany. So I'll probably fix that in there. This was just a branding strip that I had, and I thought it was really cute, so we'll see what I can do with that, and then another label from there. So what am I going to do with it? I have a sketch. Big surprise. I have a lot of sketches from Allison Davis and Scrapbook Generation, and the one that I am inspired by is one I've actually used a couple of times, and it's from her class. It was a 6x6 paper pad class that she did, I want to say 2 years ago, maybe. She's done a couple of them, and this was the 6x6 paper pad single page or one page layouts. So that's what I'm going to use. I have already cut my photos or printed my photos down to the size that I want to use for that layout. And oh, I did have another idea because I have the donuts. I actually went to my Cricut and I found that there was a donut shape. So I cut a couple of different ones out, and I'm going to play with those. I have inked them up a little bit to kind of give them a little bit more rounding to make them look a little more realistic. And then the frosting or the icing, I tried to play around with some ink. This is actually Victorian Velvet, which I thought worked really well with the colors I have going on here. Of course, I have to have a chocolate one. This will get inked a little bit darker on the edges. And I do have to figure out how I'm going to fill in the sprinkles. I'm thinking I may just put something on the back, or I may go back to the Cricut, use the contour tool to erase all the sprinkles and then put a solid piece behind. I haven't gotten to that yet, but that is my plan. Got some little ones here. So I'll be playing around with some inks with that. So yeah, I think I have everything here. What was the other thing? Oh, the last thing was for an extra entry into the contest, which I am not participating in because the prize is an amazing package of supplies, lots of great stuff, but I already have more than I will ever use in my lifetime. So I'm only participating in the hop. I won't be participating in the contest. So I really don't need to get the extra points or the extra bills for this. And that was to use the recipe card saying how to make it. Well, I don't know. I don't know how to make them. Yeah, the way I make these donuts, I go to the store and I ask them to make them. So that won't be going on there, I don't think. But this is what I have to work with, and I will get busy with playing around with my embellishments. I need to cut these papers down because the sketch that I'm using uses a lot of strips of different sizes. So yeah, I'll get started on that, and I will be back in just a flash. Here's where I started putting the page together according to the sketch. The band of photos is actually supposed to go diagonally across the page, and I did have to trim my base page down a little bit because the strip of photos was 12 inches wide, but when you put it on a diagonal, then it doesn't quite go all the way across. The top on the right and the bottom on the left would have a gap. So I did trim my paper down to 11.5 inches square. And I decided to use repositionable adhesive to put the strips down because I was moving them around quite a bit. And I actually cut a lot of footage out so you didn't have to sit and watch me rearrange these strips over and over again. This is a great ruler that I used to line up the strips that were going to be further away from that main photo strip, just to keep them on the same angle. I was able to line it up with the photos and then just put it in place. So that was very helpful to keeping those lines just that, so that they were all in alignment. So I did, see, keep going back and forth, moving these things around. Hopefully it will only be a few more seconds. After I finished getting all of these pieces in place, I needed to flip the paper over to trim off all the ends. And this is where you're going to see I had a minor panic attack because when I cut those off, I saw those triangular pieces and I thought I had put the paper into the trimmer crooked and cut the page wrong. And then I realized, oh no, the photos were crooked on the paper. So yes, that piece that cut off was a triangular shape. So everything was good, but I did have a slight moment of panic there. Then I decided to finish off those donuts. I did make the solid icing pieces using the contour feature on my Cricut. And this faded jeans was a really good match to the blues in the paper. So I colored some of the sprinkles that color. I went ahead and laid everything out pretty much the way I want it. I put my donuts together. I have everything put here. I did not end up using this little strip, but I still think I like it, and I may put it up here. You know, I'm struggling because we always hear about the rule of threes and odd numbers and all that. And because of the way I laid out the strips, there's 4 strips in each one of these clusters, if you will. So I may want to put that up there for number 5. The other thing that was bothering me about the rule of 3 is that I have 4 donuts on here. But I think I'm going to leave it because I do like the distribution of colors. So I'm going to put this together. I do have my date stamp here. I'm going to stamp, I think, on this label here. I found these enamel dots, and I don't know where they came from because obviously they're not in the package. But I like them. I think the color works well. So I'm going to see if I can fit those in somewhere. But I didn't want to make this video any longer than it is. So I'm going to shut off the camera, glue everything down, and then I'll be back. All right, I am finished, and I did make a few changes. I tweaked a few things on the page as I was gluing things down. I did move this donut over so that it was part of this cluster, so I felt better about that. Also, I went back and I added that little heart strip to each of these strip clusters. That way it gave me the odd number that I was looking for. Instead of having 4 strips in each, I had 5. On the sketch, it only calls for 3, but I felt like there was just way too much white space with only 3, so that's why I added the extra. I also went in, I didn't end up using my roller date stamp. I ended up using this stamp from Elle Studio called the Tiniest Date Stamp. And what else did I do? Oh, I matted it onto the craft cardstock. I had to cut the original page down a little bit in order to accommodate this tilted strip of photos. So I added it to the craft paper, and I thought that really helped tie it all together. So thank you for watching. If you're still with me, I really appreciate your time. Please, if you have any comments, leave them below. If you got anything out of this, even if it's just pure entertainment, you can give me a thumbs up. That would be great. The best thing that you can do to help YouTube creators out is to like, subscribe, and comment. It helps tell YouTube what you like to see, and it also helps them to show other crafters, people who like the same things as you, they get to see the videos that you like. So it really is helpful. So for that, for now, I am going to head off to do the next challenge, and I will have some close-ups at the end. Thank you again for joining me.